Welcome to B2B Noble.
That's right, no double speaker gibberish, no talking heads. This is a safe place to talk about what you as professionals in the space can do to look like heroes to your bosses, make sales very happy, bring success to the organization, and that bottom line. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of B2B Noble. I'm Liz Brohan.
And I'm Liz's brother, Mark Brohan, once again here to help you make sense of the future without drowning in buzzwords or dashboards, or as we say, B2B Noble.
Yeah, well, we may drown today. We are talking about a very big issue, and not all of us are up to date on it. But we want to talk about market research, and we want to talk specifically how technology is changing and transforming how we're even conducting market research, and then, how we're getting to those, insights that we all need so desperately. So buckle up, everybody.
Yeah, because, market research and market data is an organization's worst enemy or best friend, depending upon the landscape. And it is changing so fast now with this agentic world upon us here. So if your idea of insights still evolves from a quarterly deck or a net promoter score from Q1, man, this episode's for you.
Yeah, and we do see that a lot in B2B, so we'll touch on that today too. But it's not just changing; it's here, and it's absolutely a necessity to adapt to how you're looking at customer behavior and how you're utilizing it to drive insight and help your company, gain more revenue. So we are so excited to introduce you to our very special guest today. Please welcome Patricia Velasquez. She is B2B Strategy and Insights Lead for Google. All right, everybody, that's pretty cool, right?
That's pretty cool. I think so. Yeah, you bet.
If anybody's going to know what's going on, it's going to be you, Patricia. So anyway, as you might guess, she has been helping some of the top brands, globally, figure out exactly how to, capture what's going on, use it to their advantage, drive better insights, and certainly revenue. So thank you for joining us today. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you so much, both of you. I've been looking forward to this. There is a lot of noise around research right now, but there's also a ton of opportunity if you know where to look.
We started, as I just mentioned, data for even a small organization can be your worst enemy or your best friends. But a lot of people kind of begin their use of any kind of market research in kind of reverse mode. So let's start with this. It's been said that market research is no longer the map. It's the rearview mirror. What are people meaning by that?
That's a great question. For a really, really long time, research was very backward looking. You would conduct a survey, analyze the results, and then 3 months later, you would get insights. But the reality is that the market today does not wait, and consumer behavior is shifting by the hour. So data is generated in real time, and the companies who are actually winning today are the ones that can anticipate and not just analyze.
That is such an important thing to think about. And I know there's a lot of B2B marketers out there. You just said there's a lot of noise around research. I'd like to hear more noise in the B2B space about it. So to me, what you just said means it's really turned predictive.
Exactly.
Than reactionary.
That's exactly right. The most effective organizations today use research to guide action in the moment, in real time. And that is actually possible because of 3 key things. There's AI, there's automation, and then now we have access to more real-time signals than ever before. We're talking about search behavior, voice of customer data, product reviews, live sentiment analysis, and they're all just flowing continuously.
We're going to have to dive into every single one of those. I don't even know where to start. Which one of the ones that you just mentioned are probably the biggest thing on your radar screen?
There are 3 things. Well, I would have to say AI-powered tools as the main one that's driving. There's 3 pure things that are big drivers, but I'll start with AI-powered insights tools. These are the ones that analyze massive volumes of behavioral data and surface real-time patterns and anomalies. So there's no more waiting for quarterly reports, and that's actually a pretty big game changer. The other thing that we're seeing is synthetic panels. These are AI-generated personas trained in real-world data. So you can test messages, experiences, offers, and you can do that in minutes instead of weeks. And we also have multimodal signals. And this is where you can include voice and visual and contextual data, not just survey responses or clicks. So we're building a much richer and more human understanding of intent, which is very rare in B2B.
Can I just follow up on that? So AI has not, I mean, it's not new in B2B and it's not new in market research. It's been around. But having said that, this stuff is on rocket fuel. You know, I'm a reporter, been doing it for a lot of years, and I get really skeptical when I hear the next big thing. Having said that, this stuff applied to market research is fast coming. But you just mentioned three key drivers here. What I'd like to ask in one specific question is, when you apply AI to these three drivers here, do you as Google and the B2B market researcher have to deliver the pinpoint data that the customer wants, or the flip side, which is you just give them the tools to get what they want based upon how you've built the results? The difference?
I think it's the interesting part of AI-enabled and AI-powered insights and research is that you can choose your own adventure. You can make of it what you want based on your business needs. So there are organizations right now that have a really robust data analytics team and can do all that analysis on their own. But if you're a small, medium-sized business and you don't have that, there are already tools out there that you can use to supercharge your data analytics and insights. So it is not a one-size-fits-all approach, but it's AI. What it's doing is empowering and really accelerating your capabilities of analysis and including all those signals.
You know, the term real time should have an uppercase R and an uppercase T. So as we talk about these models, Patricia, are we basically replacing the old ask then wait model with observe and adapt, and all of this in kind of uber real time, or what? What do you think?
Well, the reality is that your customers are already telling you what they want. Ooh, not just through surveys. And I say this as a researcher, so not just through surveys, but their behavior as well, through what they're searching for, what they skip, what they linger on. And what AI is doing is helping us interpret those signals. One of my favorite things to do is to look at research studies and the data that we get back and overlay that with search data and understand, well, if search trends are moving in this direction and B2B buyers are telling us this other thing, and I can incorporate some of those signals, I can get a better view of what's actually happening in real time in the market rather than it being backwards looking, and really have a more overarching and comprehensive view of what B2B buyers truly want and need.
Hey, a quick personal observation. You live in the B2B market research world here. So all this AI stuff, is it making your job fun, or at the end of the day, you got the biggest headache known to mankind?
It's fascinating. I honestly can say that my job is more fun today than it was even a year ago, simply because of all this AI innovation.
I think that is pretty amazing. It makes my head explode.
Mine too.
But, you know, I wanted to ask you just mentioned a minute ago that, you know, if you're a mid-size B2B company or a manufacturer, or you're not going to really understand, I don't think a lot of them might not understand yet exactly where to even start. And I love the couple of examples you just gave about overlaying data and search data. Where else should these mid-size folks start?
My advice would be to start small, but be very, very intentional. 3 things that you could do would be to first instrument your digital touchpoints. And what I mean by that is make sure you're capturing the signals that matter: site traffic, search queries, CRM behaviors. Once you have that, then you go over to AI-enhanced platforms. If you're a small or medium-sized business, you don't need to build from scratch. Use tools that already have intelligence baked in. via Google Trends or Looker, HubSpot, even your email platform. Then I would say the last thing is just running an agile learning loop. Instead of just one big study a year, you should set up smaller monthly cycles. Ask tighter questions, which is very hard, I know, in the B2B space. Test quickly, learn, and pivot.
It's kind of a giveaway. This is not just modern stuff. This is survivable, what you got to do these days. So because the speed of change is not slowing down, my question to you, Patricia, is that this now, all of these AI models, the three drivers you just touched on, they drive more insight instantaneously back to that B2B marketer.
Exactly.
But my question is, how quickly does the B2B marketer have to react to that? Does it depend upon the project, or, if they got something actionable right away, boom, they got to start using it right away? Is there a trade-off there?
Not necessarily a trade-off, but I will say that the move right now that we're seeing is that leading advertisers, leading marketers, leading B2B companies, they are using insights at just a fast speed. You need insight velocity, but you need to be able to understand how that plays back to your business goals and business outcomes. And the good news with that is that you do not need to boil down the ocean. You need to stop waiting for the perfect data point, and you can start learning from the data that you already have, because it's quite rich. B2B companies do have quite big data sets that already give them insights that are beyond what they're already utilizing. So that would be my take, to just start small, stop waiting for the perfect data point, and start using the data that you have right now.
But because you're Google, just a quick follow-up, are you the Atlantic, the Pacific, or both? Because you are Google.
Or all of them, yeah.
You're all of them, yeah.
Well, I'm an island girl from Atlantic all the way.
Well, we'll throw in the Great Lakes, too, because we live in Chicago, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to just kind of ask a follow-up question, because I love process. And you just gave us kind of the step-by-step playbook for, getting some of the small steps started. And I wanted you to help our listeners understand, A, how to take this to the executive team so that they've got the freedom to do these sorts of things. And B, who else do they need to partner with, to be able to look at the data, even collect the data, and then maybe even analyze the data. Not everybody has a marketing analyst on staff.
No, absolutely. The true innovators that I see in the B2B space are the ones that are bringing the entire teams together. That is, we have a lot of silos, and different, regardless of the size of the company, small, medium, large enterprise organizations. There are a lot of data silos and organizational silos. So in terms of bringing the right partners along, there is one core thing. If the business outcomes are dictated by X organization or Y organization, you do need to have them at the table. One of the really great things that I've been seeing recently is marketing organizations in B2B bringing the CFO organization into the conversations early on, bringing the data analytics organization on, bringing even the product organization on early, aligning on their goals, and also that will allow for just better adoption and also sell-through of their products.
Would we turn to the CMO or our VP of marketing to help us start to, bring all these teams together and get everybody aligned?
It starts, the CMOs and the marketing organization have such a privileged vantage point, simply because they're seeing not just the products that are being developed, but also they're seeing the market response to and the reception of the products as they go to market. So every time I talk to a CMO, I ask them about their engagement with the other leadership teams, because they have a seat at the table and they have a lot of insight that even other leaders at the C-level, at the executive level, have. So the CMO absolutely needs to be at the table and actually can bring in even more insight than some other leaders at times, depending on the project and the product.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's what our listener need to hear. They needed to know, who do I go to start getting some of this stuff off the ground if it's not already. So I think that's super important. And, I always have thought of research as more of a consumer activity, consumer marketing activity. B2B has never been, really entrenched in market research, but you've just shown us how to and talked about the importance of it. So now, then what, really? What's the future going to be? Where are we going?
You say that, but I do think that B2B is catching up, and I think it's catching up fast. What's exciting to me right now in the B2B space is just the amount of signals and innovation and technology that's coming up. One of the ones that's really exciting right now is intent-based targeting. We can now see what content decision makers are consuming, what they're searching for, and where they are in the buying journey. And you can see that across multiple roles in the buying committee. We also have AI co-pilots, and I've seen some B2B organizations testing AI agents to just help sales and marketing teams analyze consumer behavior and perhaps even suggest messaging and surface product recommendations in real time. And this last one, I do think is very important and often doesn't get the recognition that it deserves, is emotion in the B2B buyer journey. We're starting to see research go beyond rational needs and explore how emotion drives high consideration B2B purchases. Because at the end of the day, B2B buyers are people too. And that is a big shift that we hadn't seen in the B2B space before.
That's fascinating to me. The creatives have always been on that bandwagon where they wanted to bring both the rational and emotional drivers to selling, product and services. So how do they go about discovering some of these emotions and bringing that, into the conversation?
That is the beauty of those real-time insights that I was mentioning before. Those signals that you can analyze in real time. How are people responding to your campaign? What are they clicking on? What are they searching for after they see an ad for your product? When you are able to track that with a really robust data analytics apparatus behind you, you can really hone in on the right signals and then supplement that with, be it surveys and additional reporting. And that way you can hone in on what personas are looking for your products. Because for a very, very long time, we in the B2B space have mostly spoken to the CIO or the CFO. We have all seen the guide to CFO for this X, Y, or Z product. At the end of the day, there are buying committees, there are multiple people, there are even influencers that are not part of the committee that are having their voices heard. And you need to understand what they are looking for, what they are searching for, what they are really leaning towards, and how you can back into that and communicate that more effectively.
One of the things you and I have in common is I've been doing B2B market research of a different nature for going back to the dot-com crash days. That's how far back I've been covering B2B. My term for market research is yakking with people. What are yakking with people telling me? And the old idea that B2B buyers are cold, logical calculators, is that going out the window? I think it is, because I'll tell you why. I write a lot about the B2B user experience. I just finished doing a market research report for my 4th annual kind of what's up with B2B omnichannel. And the point is that marketer out there is part of a omnichannel team within the organization that is anywhere from 3 to 5 to 7 members. And the data they're looking at is cross-organizational. So to me, the old calculated logical goes out the window. Do you agree with that or kind of disagree?
Absolutely. And honestly, thank goodness for that, because B2B buyers are people too. They want frictionless experiences. They want relevant content. And yes, they want some emotional validation that they're making the right choice. At the end of the day, this purchase, this business purchase could make or break your career. It could be a pivotal moment in your career. So as a buyer, you want to make sure that you trust the decision that is being made. One of the things that I actually find really fascinating is the role of creators and thought leaders in the space. We are starting to see there is a level of trust. Product recommendations in the B2B space have always been important, but now it's not just your colleague making that recommendation. You can go and watch a video from someone who you may not know, but who is clearly an experienced person in your field, and they are reviewing a product and giving you their real take on it. That is important. There is trust there, and we're seeing more of that human side and human connection come center stage for the B2B players.
Well, I think you guys see this every day, but I went down to a trade show in Austin about a month ago, and one of the presentations just blew me away. And here's the example, which is they took Google Analytics. Okay. So they had real-time buyer behavior. But what they did was they created a landing page based upon these results with an e-commerce engine translated across 17 different languages in just literally less than an hour. I mean, it was actually pretty instantaneous. And that blew me away because you think it's going to put up a kind of a piece of S, keep it clean here. But it wasn't. It was a beautiful site, and it had everything that it used to take a web development team a long time to do. So the fact that you could take Google Analytics, that real-time data, get it to the marketing guy who says, okay, or marketing person, I should say, and get that up there so fast, that to me was just a frickin' game changer. These tools are there to help you. These tools are there to just make your life easier, because the B2B space it's a tough space and it's very complicated. We know that these buyer journeys are very, very long. So the more we can use the innovation that is available to us, we need to incorporate that to just become more efficient and reach buyers when they need.
I actually loved hearing that you thought we were starting to develop more trust among, buyers and corporations. That's really great to hear. I think I would, commend the younger generations, the millennial generation, the Gen Zs of the world, because for the longest time we felt like institutions or even, B2B marketing manufacturers or whoever were alienating, and so to hear that we're building trust back, and maybe that's through the content pieces you were just talking about, is pretty exciting news. And you're extremely optimistic, which I love, and that's what I thought about. This is so optimistic.
Well, now don't forget boomers in there too.
No. Okay, we're building trust.
All right. We just want our discounts.
Yeah. So I guess my question in all of that, so I was so happy to hear that insight. How do we continue to build trust? And can all of this technology help us do that in an age where we don't really get to see our customer until, the very end?
I would say that it's just the beginning, and we are transforming the way that we engage with customers on the B2B side in a way that's just really exciting. I am highly optimistic that these tools are actually going to let us connect. It might seem like adding more technology tools would make us more disconnected from our customers, and it's actually helping us become more connected to them. Before, we just didn't have the right signals to be able to connect with customers in a way that felt meaningful. And all these technological innovation, what it's doing is helping us pinpoint the right way to connect with them and opening the door. At the end of the day, we should not be having so many silos that actually don't allow our customers to reach us. The technology is actually just opening the door for us to let the customer in and understand us better.
Do you want to touch on agentic?
Yeah, absolutely. Ask away.
Patricia, we have been excited to have you because who knows this topic better than you and Google? I don't think anybody does. But agentic is changing the world. So could you talk about What exactly is agentic research, and how is that related, if you think, to AI-curated storytelling?
Oh, this is so exciting. These are AI agents that proactively seek insights. They are designing tests, they're asking questions, and synthesizing results without human prompting. The reality is, we are just at the beginning of this, and it is going to explode. It is going to, at the end of the day, enable all of us who are on analytics teams or marketing organizations overall to be more intentional and get insights in a way that we probably hadn't even thought of asking for those prompts. And it's actually also going to help us be better storytellers, because the research and the insights that you get without having to prompt them, we are able to synthesize those insights and be able to create better presentations, better visuals, better dashboards, and not just have a data dump, but truly bring the human back to the storytelling aspect of it, because we're already going to have the insights curated for us. We can focus on what matters most in the storytelling.
See, I love terms like hallucinate. I hear it every single day. I used to hear it more when I went to college in the 70s, but So I guess the takeaway I'm getting here is that AI isn't just doing the research, it's becoming the analyst, the strategist, and even the storyteller. Is that a fair statement, or what do you think?
I think that's correct, but I'll say it's actually a partner. It is not going to replace you or your research team or your insights team. The best research still starts with human curiosity. And what AI does, it's scale it.
I love it. I do. You live in a world that we all are dying to burst right into. And you've helped us so much today to kind of figure out even how to get started. So this is great. How about if we just play a game real quick then? All right. So Mark and I are going to just mention something. And you answer that it's either bull or no bull. Okay?
Yeah.
Right.
And Patricia, come on down. You don't need to phrase your answer in the form of a question, and we don't have a wheel to spin, but maybe in future episodes we will. So here we go.
There you go. Something to hope for again, right? All right. So first statement. Surveys are dead.
No bull. They are evolving, sure, but they're still useful when used alongside other signals that we may have.
Okay, generative AI will replace market researchers.
Bull. It augments us, but humans still ask the best questions, in my opinion.
Most companies have more data than they know what to do with.
No bull. The challenge there is that they're not necessarily turning the data into direction. So that's where they can optimize.
Okay, final lightning round. Emotions don't matter in B2B buying.
100% bull. Emotion drives confidence. It drives urgency. And as we were talking about earlier, emotions drive trust, even in the boardrooms. So it is essential and important in the B2B space.
This has been so much fun, and we've learned so much. I just wanted to ask, is there one big takeaway that our listeners should, absorb today?
I would say stop thinking about research as a static report. It's a living, breathing part of any growth strategy. And the future really is in the hands of the companies that learn faster than they play. So test, iterate, pivot, and ultimately use AI as a force multiplier, but stay curious and ultimately stay human.
Okay. Curious and human it is, for
You
sure.
bet. No bull on that. So.
Excellent. And hey, we want to know, I'm sure all of our listeners want to know, where can they get in touch with you if they'd like to continue this conversation?
Well, they can reach out on LinkedIn and also check out some of the insights that we share on either Think with Google or latest research that we're going to be sharing actually later this year. So a lot more to come on that in terms of our reports.
Excellent. We'll all be on the lookout for that.
You bet.
Yeah. Well, thank you again. This has just been incredible. And before we say goodbye, I also wanted to thank our sponsors. We'd like to thank the Motion Agency. They've just been ranked as the number 2 fastest growing B2B marketing communications firm in the U.S. So congratulations to them. Please check them out. And Embas. Embas is a consulting firm that specializes in marketing consulting, content development, change management. So please check them out as well. Thank you, everybody. And until our next episode, please keep it real. No bull.
And hey, if you're still waiting for last quarter's customer survey before deciding, you're already late.